Samuel Little, born as Samuel McDowell in 1940, had a troubled childhood, raised mainly by his grandmother in Ohio. He had disciplinary and achievement problems in school and developed sexual fantasies about strangling women as a child. Little was convicted of breaking and entering in 1956 and held in a juvenile institution. He later moved to Florida to live with his mother and had various jobs, including working as a cemetery worker and ambulance attendant. Little had multiple run-ins with the law, being arrested in 8 states for crimes such as driving under the influence, fraud, shoplifting, solicitation, armed robbery, aggravated assault, and rape. He claimed to have taken up boxing during his time in prison. In 1961, Samuel Little was sentenced to 3 years in prison for breaking into a furniture store in Lorain and was released in 1964. He had been arrested 26 times in 11 states by 1975 for crimes such as theft, assault, attempted rape, fraud, and attacks on government officials. In 1982, Little was arrested for the murder of Melinda Rose Lauprey in Mississippi but was not indicted. He was then extradited to Florida for the murder of Patricia Ann Mount but was acquitted in 1984. Little moved to California, where he was arrested for kidnapping, beating, and strangling Lori Barros in 1984 and later found with another unconscious victim. He served 2.5 years in prison and committed at least 10 additional murders upon release. In 2012, Little was arrested in Kentucky and extradited to California for a narcotics charge. DNA testing connected him to the murders of Linda Alford, Guadalupe Duarte Podaca, and Audrey Nelson Everett, and he was charged in 2013. Little was investigated for involvement in 93 murders of women committed in many U.S. states. Samuel Little was tried for the murders of Linda Alford, Audrey Nelson Everett, and Guadalupe Duarte Podaca in September 2014. The prosecution presented DNA evidence and testimony from witnesses who were attacked by Little during his criminal career. Little was found guilty on September 25, 2014, and was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Despite the evidence presented against him, Little continued to insist on his innocence until his death. He was serving his sentence at California State Prison, Los Angeles County, at the time of his death. In November 2018, Samuel Little confessed to and was charged with several murders dating back to the 1970s and spanning across 14 states. He was already serving a life sentence for multiple murders in California. Little began confessing to the additional murders in exchange for a transfer out of his current prison. By November 27, the FBI confirmed 34 of Little's confessions, with efforts underway to match the remainder of his confessions to known murders or suspicious deaths. One of Little's victims was identified as Martha Cunningham in December 2018, while he was also indicted for the murder of Linda Sue Boards in Kentucky. Between 1977 and 1999, Samuel Little killed at least 5 women in Ohio, including Mary Jo Payton and Rose Evans in Cleveland. He also confessed to killing 1 woman in Akron, 2 in Cincinnati, and 1 he met in Columbus and disposed of in Kentucky. Little had drawn portraits of many women he killed, which were released by the FBI to help identify the victims. In 2020, he confessed to 2 Florida murders, for one of which another man had been wrongfully convicted. In 2022, a woman Little killed in Memphis, Tennessee, was identified as Zena Marie Jones. Little confessed to more than 93 murders, with 60 of them formally connected to him by police. His victims were mostly female, often prostitutes, drug addicts, or homeless individuals. He believed that these individuals would leave fewer clues and attract less attention. Despite the scale of his crimes, Little was only convicted of 8 murders. Annie Lee Stewart was murdered on October 11, 1981, in Cincinnati, Ohio. Little strangled her and left her body in the woods behind some apartments. He was convicted of her murder on August 23, 2019. Mary Jo Payton was murdered in 1984 after encountering Little at a bar in Cleveland, Ohio. He claimed to have taken her to an abandoned factory and choked her there. Her body was found by workers a few weeks later. Little was convicted of her murder on August 23, 2019. Carol Linda Alford was murdered by Little in Los Angeles, California. Her body was discovered in an alley, and DNA evidence linked Little to the crime. He was found guilty on September 25, 2014. Guadalupe Podaca was found dead in an abandoned auto repair shop in Los Angeles, California. Little was linked to the crime by DNA evidence and convicted on September 25, 2014. Audrey Nelson Everett was found in a dumpster behind a nightclub and restaurant in Los Angeles, California. DNA evidence under her fingernails linked Little to the crime, and he was convicted on September 25, 2014. Zena Marie Jones was a woman found murdered in West Memphis, Arkansas, after going missing from Memphis, Tennessee. Little admitted to killing her and was found guilty on August 23, 2019. Rose Evans was murdered in Cleveland, Ohio, and her body was found in a lot covered with tires. Little was convicted of her murder on August 23, 2019. Denise Christie Brothers was found killed in Odessa, Texas. Little pleaded guilty to her murder and received his fourth life sentence on December 13, 2018. Samuel Little admitted to strangling more than 93 people from 1970 to 2005, but many of his victims' deaths were initially ruled as accidental or overdoses. A significant number of Little's victims were never found, and the details he provided along with a sketch could not be linked to a known missing person. In Miami, Florida, 1971 or 1972, Little confessed to killing an 18 or 19-year-old black transgender woman and leaving her body near Highway 27 in the Everglades. The victim's name was either Marianne or Mary Ann, and she was between 5 feet 6 and 5 feet 7, weighing approximately 140 pounds. Little did not believe her body was ever found, and he sketched her during one of his confessions in 2019. In Little Rock, Arkansas, 1992 or 1994, Little admitted to strangling a 24-year-old black female named Ruth, whom he spent 3 days with shoplifting. She was between 5 feet 5 and 5 feet 7 and weighed about 200 pounds. Little was arrested for shoplifting from Kroger by the Little Rock police on April 20, 1994. After killing Ruth, he placed her body on a pile of branches near a cornfield. Little also drew a sketch of this victim during his confessions in 2019. In Covington, Kentucky, 1984, Little confessed to killing a 25-year-old white female outside of a strip club. She had short blonde hair, blue eyes, and a hippie appearance and was 5 feet 6 minus 5 feet 7 and weighed between 130 to 170 pounds. Little drove the woman south on Interstate 75 toward Miami, Florida, before stopping in a hilly area near the highway. He killed her in the backseat of his car and left her body on the top of a small hill. Little sketched this victim during one of his confessions in 2019. In December 2022, Jane Doe, who was killed in May 1988, was identified as Linda Bennett, age 38. In Las Vegas, Nevada, 1993, Little confessed to killing a thin, black female around 40 years old. She was about 5 feet 5 and weighed 110 to 120 pounds, possibly wearing a wig over short hair. After killing her in a hotel room, he drove her body to the outskirts of Las Vegas and rolled her down a steep slope. Little also provided a sketch of this victim during his confessions in 2019. In Los Angeles, California, Little admitted to killing a thin, white female in 1996. She was about 5 feet and weighed 110 pounds. He killed her in the bathroom of a vacant house, undressed her below the waist, unsuccessfully attempted to perform post-mortem anal sex, and left her body sitting in the bathtub. Finally, in Los Angeles, California, 1984, Little confessed to strangling a short, thick, black female. After killing her, he had sex with her body on a service road off the I-10 before dragging her halfway up a hill and leaving her there. Aurelia Jean Dorsey was Little's long-term girlfriend, who supported them both by shoplifting for years. However, Dorsey has since passed away. Little was arrested on May 28, 1971, in Cleveland, along with his girlfriend at the time, Lucy Madero, and charged with the robbery of a gas station. While in jail, Madero revealed to her cellmate, Dorsey, that she would be testifying against Little in the upcoming robbery case. In 1972, during the trial, Madero did testify against Little, but his defense team was able to prepare for it with the help of information provided by Dorsey. Little was ultimately found not guilty. Dorsey and Little remained together until she passed away due to natural causes, specifically a brain hemorrhage, in Los Angeles in 1988. Despite being 27 years older than Little, she remained his companion until her death. Little himself passed away on December 30, 2020, at a hospital in a Los Angeles County area. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation has not disclosed a specific cause of death, but Little reportedly suffered from various health conditions, including diabetes and heart problems. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.